Oh my goodness. I am so excited about being on a call today. I love all the calls. Let me just say that. And this today we have none other than one of our up and coming leaders who always does a fantastic job in San Diego. Great family man, loved his daughter, just always spoots out good information in a methodical way that we all can understand and lead by example. And without further ado, for the San Diego area regional director, everybody ready? Let's give him a warm welcome to none other than Mr. Julian Lewis.
Good morning, sir. It's good to see you. And yes, you know what I love about Mr. Thomas is it's not just business. You guys have no idea. He's like an uncle to me. He teases me. He does all that stuff all the time. And if you understood it, for him, it's so much deeper. It's about creating fellowship and family. And he definitely does that on a consistent basis. I appreciate you, sir, and I thank you for everything. I'm hearing about some really cool things from your talks with the team. So thank you for everything that you do and just the human being that you are. And everyone, ladies and gentlemen, Senior Vice President, you don't get to SVP by getting to SVP. You get to SVP by already becoming the person you need to be before you get there. All right. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. And I want to touch on something that is going to be a little touchy. Some of you, it's going to be uncomfortable. Is that okay? Is that okay? Marcia, is that okay? Everyone a little uncomfortable this morning? All right, perfect. So I want to share that up front. So don't be angry with me because there's no growth in your comfort zone, right? So just to give everyone a brief background on myself, for those of you that don't know me, again, my name is Julian. And prior to getting involved with this business, I was a senior systems engineer. Through building this business part-time around my crazy work schedule, and enabled me to come home to my family. The biggest part for me was becoming the type of father that I felt my daughter deserved. Watching her not from afar, like a lot of fathers have to do, but actually being there in the moment with her, watching and experiencing and pouring into her. And I owe it all to the training and support and the fellowship and family that I've created in this business while moving forward. And what I want to talk about, so you guys ready to write down the title? Because Mr. Thomas, he might give away some prizes like 6 months from now if you know this title. I'm just saying, you might want to have this written down, okay? So the title is, Don't Fake It Till You Make It. Titles Don't Fake It Till You Make It. And before I get into that, what I want to do is I'm going to show you 2 quick videos that express it. I had to find it. I wanted to share this whole video, but if any of you know Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he curses way too much. And you wouldn't have been able to, if I had to bleep out everything, you wouldn't have got the message. Right? It would have just been a whole bleep. So what I did is I found a piece on one of his videos and then another piece. I think he does say BS, but you know, the full word, I think that's the only one I couldn't. So if you don't like that, just plug your ears when you hear it coming. But let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys.
We now live in a world where transparency has won. Speak the truth. Do the right thing. Kindness is cool. Truth is cool. Don't act like you've made it. Talk about the journey of trying to make it. For me, one of the most interesting things that I watch every day in this space is people think that fake it till you make it is still real. There are so many people posing it because they feel like they have to inflate their backstory or what they're capable of or the advice that they're giving to break out, yet that is the exact same reason that they won't break out.
All right, did you guys catch that? This is important. So I'm gonna play this last 2-minute video and then we're gonna get into it. All right, so check out what he says in this video. Give me one second.
I'd love to be a rapper. I'd love to rebrand myself a rapper. I was actually a marketing and business guy, which is why it was easy for me to transition from a wine personality. But if I try next week to position myself as a hip hop artist, I've got a problem. And I think I'm seeing a lot of people try to reposition themselves as entrepreneurs or as thought leaders in certain genres when they are actually not that. You know, I'm feeling it a lot because of entrepreneurship. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur even though they never sold anything in their goddamn lives. Now that doesn't mean you can't be, but before you start branding, I think there's a very distinct thing I'm about to tell you. I would rebrand myself as somebody who's going through the journey of becoming an entrepreneur versus branding myself as an entrepreneur. Got it? And I think that's the powerful distinction. I think people are faking the funk. I think people are way too bought into faking until you make it. Faking until you make it worked when nobody was watching. Something I don't think I talk a lot about with you guys about this whole fake it till you make it thing, which I think was a really good strategy for a long period of time. The problem right now is so many of you are faking it in public. Fake it till you make it was great because nobody was watching, and you were faking it by doing it, and you were learning. You were learning on the job is probably the more noble way to say it. The problem is so many of you now are saying you're there before you're there. We encountered that yesterday again in Denver. Lovely kid, just, you know, so why am I not making money? You're not selling anything. Like, you know, that's its most basic form of entrepreneurship. You're just not there yet, and you may get there. So I think it's super important for people to start understanding what's really happening in the ecosystem, which is, you know, so many of you are projecting a personality in social, and it just really matters that there's something behind it, and that's kind of personal brands is what we were talking about there. So please, you know, that little distinction, and replay it right now, D-Rock. I want you to do the reverse. Like, so many of you are projecting a personality in social, and it just really matters that there's something behind it. There's a distinction between, you know, there's a very big distinction between I'm going through the journey of becoming this and I am this. And way too many of you are saying I am this and nobody believes you.
All right, so I hope you guys caught that. And the reason why I say that is because there's so many people that assume, all right? They make this assumption that in order to be successful, this is really funny. This is really funny. In order to be successful, you need to be successful. How goofy is that? In order to be successful, you need to be a regional director. I can't present. I'm not a regional director yet. I don't know if you guys remember, but Mr. Chris King, he introduced me last week, and he said when he came down and he saw me as an executive team leader, he thought I was a regional vice president. It wasn't because I was faking it. It was because I was building and speaking with authority. I was building with posture, and I was speaking that way. So he didn't know what I was. He just felt me. And a lot of times we're afraid, oh, I can't do that. I'm not a regional director yet. I can't do that. I'm not an RVP. Who lied to you? And if you're lying to yourself, stop it, because it's not serving you. And this whole idea of fake it till you make it, you heard what Gary Vee said, it worked. It worked in the 80s and 90s when people weren't watching. We're in an always on society. Everyone's always watching. So if you're faking it till you make it, people are going to realize that you're not there, and they're not going to believe you. And there's something, even when people weren't watching, there's something that they could sense. They're like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. And then they don't work with you. And you wonder why. You say, well, I'm saying all the things. Well, no, if you are faking it, you know what you're actually doing? Does anyone know? You can put it in the chat. If you're faking it, what are you actually doing? What is faking it? Does anyone know? There it is. And you're not just lying to yourself, Jen. You're lying to other people. If you're faking it, you're lying, period. So the thing that people get uncomfortable with is they feel a lie. They want to believe you, but they sense a lie. So there's confusion there, and they're uncomfortable. So if they don't believe you because they're confused, they want to believe you, then they hesitate. If they hesitate, that means they don't join you. More people would join you if you were transparent. If you say, I'm excited about the journey, I'm excited about where I'm going, I'm excited to work with an incredible mentor. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm new. I'm going through it. I'm having struggles. the challenges because I'm becoming an entrepreneur. I'm becoming a professional. I'm becoming a success. In order to have a success story, you need to be in the part that's becoming. If you're already always there, then you're not becoming. And here's why that's so important to understand. If you're always faking it, AKA, what did we say? Lying. If you're always lying about it, then you can never get to the rock bottom or the foundation. And this is what I mean. See, in order for you to build from the ground up, you need to know where the ground is. And if you're lying about where the ground is, you never know where it really is. So you can never truly build from the ground up. If you're always acting as if you're there, you won't do the work to get there because you're pretending that the work has already been done, which means you're going to delay you getting there. And that's extremely important. Guys, here's what you want to do. When it comes to, and Bill Bailey, you're right, but even with that, you can borrow the confidence of your upline. You don't even have to be confident. You can be confident in your upline, or you could have faith that this is going to work. But you don't even need the confidence. Confidence comes last. And I shared this last week. You start with a commitment, then you have the courage, and doing it scared is going to be uncomfortable. And then by doing it over and over again uncomfortable, you become capable. And when you look back and have the awareness that you're capable, that awareness of you being capable is what we call confidence. But in other words, here's what you do. You lean on your upline. That's why we have three-way calls. That is why you edify, to get yourself out of the way, because you're not the deal. You're not the deal. You are becoming successful. And so there's some things that I wanted to dispel, some myths, some things that I wanted to break apart. Here's the other scary thing about faking it till you make it. When you actually really make it, you can't celebrate making it because you've been faking the fact that you've been there the whole time. So it's anticlimactic. Here's what I mean. You never get to experience your victories because you're already pretending like you've accomplished them, which means you break all the joy and you suck all the joy out of the journey. Because once you get there, you have to pretend like it's business as usual because you already got there because you've been telling people you've been there. I hope this is making sense to everyone. I actually knew somebody in the business that was taught this by their mentor, fake it till they make it. And they were doing it. And they didn't get to celebrate their promotion because the way they were faking it, they were said that they were already there. So when they were supposed to call their name to get promoted, their name didn't get called. This is real. This is real stuff, guys. And I felt so bad for him because anybody that knows me, and I'm talking about real life, you guys. So I hope I'm not freaking any leaders out because stuff like this happens. You guys understand that people lie, not in every aspect. People lie in relationships. People lie at the job. So if people are in ACN, it can happen here too. You guys get that, right? What, Chris? People lie when they're firefighters, right? They lie everywhere. It doesn't matter. So what happened is I'm sitting at an international. Brian Baker or any of my friends will tell you I have a crazy brain. Like I can do calculations real fast based on the charts, based on numbers. Who's really producing? Is it the RVP? Is it the organization? I'm weird like that. I have an engineer brain. That's just how I'm built. And I knew the numbers didn't add up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous for this guy because I know he's supposed to be getting promoted and he's not going to get promoted. And I know it because I can do the calculations, and I'm watching him. He's sitting the next row in front of me with his RVP, and I'm watching him, and he's uncomfortable. And they're supposed to call his name. They don't call his name. They don't call his name. And here's the problem. It stole everything from him, because then he had to figure out what he was going to share, because they were supposed to call his name. Now, they thought they were doing him a favor. So they said, he drew a line in the sand and said, I'm getting promoted on this day. But he didn't get the numbers to do it. And instead of having that be a part of his journey and say, guys, I didn't get it, and going after it again, they said something like, I guess the numbers didn't get in time, or something weird like that. And what I saw happen to him later, this is really important. Someone who was incredible, on the charts consistently, doing well, that stole a part of his soul from him. And after that day, I never saw him produce at the level he was producing before. And I'm telling you this, guys, because I love you and I want to see you win big. And I want you to realize this: your failures, speaking about your failures, have more power than pretending that you had a failure-free journey. Speaking about your failures is more powerful than having a failure-free journey. Why? Why is that the case? Does anyone know why speaking about your failures? So if I'm a success, I'm telling you guys, in every aspect, as a father, in my relationships, personal relationships, in ACN, in my other businesses, I've failed miserably. I've made crazy mistakes. I remember, Mr. Thomas, when I first joined, the presentation was Excel-ish, meaning because you guys had come from Excel and this was telecom, a lot of leaders were basically doing the Excel presentation, pulled the Excel name off and just put ACN, right? And so the way my upline had us doing presentations, and Ashlyn, you'll remember this, we had these credibility binders. Ashlyn, you remember that? And so I had to go through, and the point of the credibility binder was I was brand new. So I was showing the credibility of my leaders. But I was horrible. I was horrible at presenting. And I was okay with it because I knew that I had to be horrible in order to figure this thing out to get good. And I'm like, I need to do as many presentations that suck so that I can get good at it. And I remember talking to Marie about this. There's a guy in my team named Abraham Torres. There are two people. And matter of fact, I was just talking to Eileen about this, I want to say 2 days ago. I said, there are two guys that know I was terrible. Ashlyn, or Bill Bailey, as you know him, and Abraham Torres. We met Abraham Torres at SDSU when we used to prospect like that. Remember, Ashlyn? And so the thing is when I got these guys signed up in my business, Abraham and a guy named Luis, I didn't know how to present. And I was presenting and they were looking at me like, what is this dude doing? He's terrible. He's terrible. But I kept going. And the reason why I mentioned those two guys to Eileen is because they saw me when I was horrible. Some people aren't going to believe you when you get great. They're not going to believe that you were ever bad, but they need to know the story about when you were. Can anyone put in the chat why? Why is it that they need to know about when you were terrible? Does anyone know? I want to see it. Some of you, come on. Okay, that's good to relate so they can know they can do it. Why does a leader being terrible, why is a leader being terrible at some point tell others that they can do it? Does anyone know? All right, I'm gonna be really clear. Here's why it relates. You guys ready for this? You need to know this. This is important from this day forward. Here's why it relates. It's because negative is default by nature. So most people, when they're looking to do something new, they are assuming that they're going to be bad at it. And they assume that you need to be good in order to have success. So when you tell the truth and say, I was horrible at this, I was bad at it, I couldn't present, I couldn't do any of these things. And over time, I learned. And the reason I sound the way I do today is because there's a process of learning going from terrible to where I'm at now. Now that oh my gosh, she was terrible. I'll tell you a story. My mentor pulled up to Starbucks. He pulled up to Starbucks in Mission Valley. He pulled up in a Lamborghini. I'm sitting there. He didn't see me. This is the funniest thing. There was a crowd. There was a crowd out front in Mission Valley Starbucks in the chairs. And you could tell there were presentations. It was like a presentation happening because everyone had presentations. They had pieces of paper. Back then, guys, nothing was digital. We actually had to do presentations with paper. Okay. So all these people had little sheets of paper and they were listening. And he's like looking around and he was looking for the presenter. I was the presenter. I was sitting with them. So I wasn't in front. I was sitting with them because I was so nervous to present. I could do a one-on-one if we're sitting down. So I said, oh no, there are more people. I'm not trying to stand up or be the center of attention. So I'm sitting with them doing the presentation. You know how goofy that looked? He couldn't find the presenter. He could hear me talking, but I'm sitting facing the same way as them, talking to all of them. And he waited until I was done. He said, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you presenting to? I said, man, I can't do that. I'm not like you. That's what I told him. And he tricked me. So I was doing a presentation and here's what he told me. He said, there's this, we're going to have a guest speaker. We have this guest speaker, extremely successful. He's going to be coming into town. And I need you to invite like crazy. And I did. I invited like crazy, all of them to this huge apartment clubhouse, right? Packed it out. And I was so excited. And my mentor, he always runs a little late. Mr. Thomas, you already know who I'm talking about. And he pulls up late. I was so nervous and he was late. And then I noticed it was just him. I'm like, where's the guest speaker? He said, don't worry, he'll be here on time. He said, he'll be here on time. Let's get started now. And so my mentor went up there and he started to introduce the guest speaker. I'm like, I don't see the dude, he's not here. And he said, I want to introduce you to the guest speaker. Prior to getting involved, he was a senior systems engineer. I was like, I'm a senior systems engineer. What is he talking about? He's having a lot of success right out of the gates in his business. He's an executive in the company. I'm like, executive? No. What is he doing? What is he doing? And then he says, Mr. Julian Lewis, my soul left my body completely. I was there. I don't know how I ended up in front of the room. I walked up like a zombie. I was blinking slow. My soul left my body, did not come back until midway through the presentation. And I don't even know what I said. I don't even know because my soul wasn't there. I finished up the presentation. It was probably a 3-minute presentation, but it felt like 3 hours. I was sweaty. It was just terrible. My heart was beating out of my chest. And then I passed it back to him. And I sat down. Then I realized I was shaking. My hands don't get sweaty. My hands were sweaty. It was horrible. Guess what happened? We had people sign up. My mentor said, you did it. Look, man, we had people, you weren't that bad. We had people sign up. And he hit me and he said, ha, ha, ha. He does this laugh, those of you that know him. And he hit me. And he's like, oh man, you're going to remember this forever. And I do. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I needed to be terrible to be great. But I needed to be able to have that story to share with people. Because I have people that join my team and are like, well, you're so good. I don't want to present. Let's just have everyone listen to you. And I look at them and say, how do you think I got there? How do you think I got there? You'll never get there if your upline is always presenting. And you'll never truly be able to appreciate getting there if you're faking as if you're already there before you get there. Let people in on the journey. The montage of the fighter going through all the issues in the movie is what we love to see, because then it makes it real to us, because we can see ourselves failing. And so we can see ourselves in the fight getting better like this person did. And if you can share that, that's why we love Shaquille Cooper's story. Shaquille's business got ripped apart. He stayed in it, right? We love those stories because we could see, we could see that stuff happening to us. My business got ripped apart, but I stayed in it. Guys, that's why I'm here now. That's part of the reason why Mr. Thomas has respect for me. If you knew that what we used to call the true Hollywood story, you guys know what I'm talking about? If you knew that, you'd understand why Mr. Thomas and I are so close. He saw it, and he probably did what you guys know him to do. He probably looked at my story and he said, wow, wow, wow. This boy won't quit. I need to get connected with him. If you guys only knew. And I'm telling you this because you want to embrace your journey, and you don't want to fast forward or gloss over the bad parts, because you sharing the bad parts is what's going to lock somebody in their journey to know that they can do it. And you appreciating the bad parts is going to help you to appreciate the victories, and the victories are sweeter when you don't pretend that you're already there. So with that being said, Mr. Thomas, I will turn the call back over to you, sir.